I'm reacting to your wrestling hot takes. We do these videos once a week, so if you want your hot take reviewed in next week's video, make sure that you're following me on X. The link is in the description. I ask for your hot takes on there every Thursday, so just look out for that tweet. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, you're gonna fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's jump into it and read some stupid shit. Logan Paul should not be holding the United States Championship. He's a celebrity, not a wrestler. He has his good moments, don't get me wrong, but he shouldn't be holding that title. I think under most circumstances, I maybe would have agreed. However, the United States Championship really wasn't doing anything. It wasn't doing anything for Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio wasn't doing anything for that championship. That championship, when you compare it to all the other male championships on the roster, was probably the least prestigious in 2023. And because of that, I do think that it needed a jolt of life, and somebody like Logan Paul provides that jolt of life by being a completely different type of champion that we're accustomed to. Is he a celebrity before he is a wrestler? Yes. However, he is a fantastic wrestler and a great entertainer, and he provides a lot more exposure for a floundering United States Championship. And to me, Logan Paul is must-see television whenever he is on screen, so to me, it is a W that he's got the United States Championship. If anything, I just think he's a great blueprint of how celebrities should transition into the WWE should they want more of a full-time run, as opposed to just like one-off appearances here and there. So I gotta disagree. I like Logan Paul as United States champion. Austin Theory has more potential than any other wrestler under the age of 30. So I do think that he's got a ton of potential, but I have to look at people like Rhea Ripley, who is only 26 and is already has the resume of a Hall of Famer. But if I want to look at like true raw potential, I have to look at Tiffany Stratton over in NXT, who is under 25 and only has 2 years of wrestling experience, and she's already putting on fantastic matches at NXT PLEs. I think out of like raw potential, I gotta give it to Tiffany Stratton, because like imagine what she could do with 5 years, with 10 years, with 15 years of experience. As successful as Braun Breaker has been in NXT, I think he will be somewhat more successful on the main roster, maybe even have a manager like Paul Heyman in the future. Let's not forget that having a manager like Paul Heyman doesn't necessarily guarantee superstardom. Just look at Curtis Axel and for that brief period of time, Cesaro. But I do think that we are looking at the next major attraction for the WWE main roster. I think it is Braun Breaker. I think Braun Breaker is your next John Cena. I think he is your next Roman Reigns. I think he is the next guy that they decide to build the main event scene around. So do I think that he's going to have a more successful run on the main roster? Yeah, I think so. Don't get me wrong. His run in NXT has been otherworldly. Like very few people have the resume that he does in NXT. However, I just think that when he gets to the main roster, so long as he stays out of trouble, I think he's going to be catapulted to being the very top guy in the entire company when he's in his 30s. Wrestling is much more enjoyable when journalists stay out of the backstage and stop spoiling everything. Look, I mean, journalists are journalists, and journalists gonna journal. That's what they do. That's what they get paid to do. They get paid to get clicks. I think really the problem really is on you and me who decide to click and read these articles and watch these YouTube videos. Like if you don't want to be spoiled, then don't read those articles and don't watch those YouTube videos, because I mean, that's what they're designed to do. Now I get it. Curiosity is what ends up driving us to click on those articles. However, the phrase is curiosity killed the cat here. I will say, like, to me, the most memorable moments in WWE history are the ones that haven't been spoiled for me because I wasn't reading tabloids, like Edge returning in 2020. I have no idea if that was spoiled. I have no idea if there were rumors online. All I know is that I got to experience it without any sort of journalistic platform ruining that experience for me beforehand. So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't read the spoilers. Nia Jax is the greatest female wrestler of all time. Sophia, come on. What are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do here? Are we just trying to tell lies? I like Nia Jax. I think I probably like Nia Jax more than the average wrestling fan. I think that she has improved a lot, and I think that she's become a much better character worker in terms of her promos and her facial expressions, but absolutely not. In no world is she the greatest female wrestler of all time. Come on, what are we doing here? There isn't a heel group in the last 5 years that is as good as the Judgment Day. I like the Judgment Day, but I gotta say that Prime Bloodline with Sami Zayn, I don't think it gets better than that. I think that is the greatest heel faction of all time. Has the bloodline gotten stale and gone a bit downhill ever since? Absolutely. So I'm just comparing it to like peak bloodline. I just don't think it gets better than that. I just love the dynamics of everyone on that team. We had Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns having their relationship. We have Sami Zayn trying to win over the Usos. He won over Jimmy, but can't win over Jay. The relationship between Jay, Jimmy, and the Tribal Chief, like, it was just such a good dynamic that they all had, and it's a dynamic that I don't think that they can ever replicate ever again. Fellas, cold turkey may be good on a sandwich, but as a strategy to stop a bad habit, it may not necessarily be the best, because it doesn't necessarily take some Papa Shango voodoo-like magic to get rid of a bad habit. Sometimes you just need to get rid of the bad in the habit. And that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in, Fume. Fume is an innovative, award-winning, and frankly, really aesthetically pleasing flavored air device that does just that. They remove the bad from the habit. Instead of this being electronic, it's actually all natural and requires no charging. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air, and I literally mean that. It's just air. There's no haze or any sort of clouds. And for me, fellas, most importantly, instead of using harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural flavors. Look, you're smart. You get it. What I'm trying to say is that instead of bad, Fume is good. It allows you to enjoy the not bad part of your habit in a guilt-free, natural way. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers something to do, which is helpful for de-stressing when you're trying to break a bad habit. I've personally tested 7 different flavors, and I gotta say that my favorite by far is crisp mint. It just gives me a good feeling of like cooled and refreshed. I do have to admit I was a little bit skeptical about how strong flavored air is, but it is shockingly flavorful. And that adjustable airflow dial is what helps you determine how much of that flavor you want to bring in. Stopping is something that we've all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has already served over 150,000 customers with thousands of success stories, and there's no reason why that next success story can't be you. So join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com/Mr. Santi's app or use the QR code and use code Mr. Santi's app to get 10% off of your Journey Pack today. You can also upgrade your Journey Pack to the Solano to enjoy that premium walnut barrel and onyx black coated mouthpiece that has a smoother finish and still get 10% off. Again, that's tryfume.com and use code Mr. Santi's app to get that additional 10% off today. Again, thank you to Fume for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to it. CM Punk will retire in WWE on good terms with no fights, suspensions, or being fired. I love your optimism, and I'm here for it. I hope that's the case. I hope CM Punk ends up having a fruitful end to his career in the WWE, because the WWE will be better for it, CM Punk will be better for it, but most importantly, you, me, and everyone watching at home will be better for it, because CM Punk is just great television. I would be happy for Roman to hold the championship for another year if he showed up. Like, I get it, he doesn't have to defend the title every month, but he can at least be there 2 times a month. No, this is a toxic as shit mentality. This is called Stockholm Syndrome. We are being trained into robots to believe that it's okay that the champion of the company can just show up whenever he wants. Ooh, maybe just 2 times a month, that'd be good. No, you should demand him every single week. You should not tolerate or ask for any less. You should demand the champion, the face of your company, to be there every week. Anything less, we are just being primed to be okay with less, and we shouldn't be. Damage Control is the best faction in the WWE. No one wants to admit it because they don't get utilized correctly, nor have gotten a chance to prove their worth to the max potential. But everything all of them have done in the WWE tells a whole different story in a good way. So what you're saying is that all of them individually, not part of Damage Control, have a fantastic resume that if you were to put them together unanimously, if you were to mix their resumes, they're an amazing group. No one is arguing that. However, a faction is not remembered or revered by the accomplishments of the individuals in the faction before the faction was born. So to me, that's completely irrelevant. What these women have accomplished does nothing to make Damage Control like a stronger faction. What does is the booking, the opportunity opportunities that they get, their victories, and how strong they look on TV, which you yourself have admitted here that they don't get. So if their accomplishments before the faction don't impact how good the faction is, and they aren't being used properly, then I don't know how you can say that they're the best faction in the WWE. 2024 is going to be the greatest year in WWE history, mark my words. Look, the puzzle pieces are there. The roster is the strongest it's ever been, both men's and women's. We have an NXT that is absolutely thriving. It hasn't been this good since NXT Black and Gold, and we have a new ownership that seems to be more willing to give the fans what they want, as opposed to worrying about backstage family politics like the Vince McMahon family and CM Punk. They just care about making money, and at the end of the day, that's good for me and you, because if all they care about is making money, then they're gonna put themselves in the best positions to make that money, which usually means entertaining television, entertaining matches, entertaining storylines, great PLEs, etc. I do think that you're right. 2024 is the year that WWE will be revered as the best company that it's ever been. They should not have put LA Knight in the program with Roman Reigns. Now that it's over, Knight has lost a lot of height. Yeah, it was natural to happen. However, I think that you needed to pull the trigger when they did, because LA Knight was just the hottest product on the planet at that moment. And when I look at everyone else around that time, around Crown Jewel, I just don't see anybody that had the same level of draw and attraction and interest as LA Knight. So I do think that ultimately they had to pull the trigger on giving him that world championship opportunity to cement him as a main event player moving forward. However, I don't think that their end goal is to put a world championship on LA Knight. I think their end goal is just to have LA Knight in the picture for the foreseeable future and have him be a long-term contributor to the main event scene in the WWE. That doesn't necessarily mean world championships. It could mean a United States championship, but all it means is a lot of more LA Knight segments, more promos, which is good for us, more LA Knight merch, etc., etc. LA Knight versus Logan Paul will be great for WrestleMania. They have already teased it on the road to Money in the Bank, so it will be a good spectacle. I agree. I absolutely want to see LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship at WrestleMania. I think that that would be the biggest United States Championship match in the history of the WWE, and I don't think that I'm exaggerating. I think that the draw power that both of these two have, the ability for these two to tell a great story, the promos, the podcasts that these guys can have could be absolutely fantastic. My problem is that a lot of people, especially the diehard LA Knight fans, see the United States Championship as a downgrade for LA Knight because they truly strongly believe in their heart of hearts that he should be winning a world championship. Now, I appreciate that. I love the fact that you're that hardcore over your guy. However, like, the world championship picture in the main event scene is so overcrowded. If you want him to be only in the main event scene, only going for world championships, there's a good chance that you won't get to see LA Knight really do his thing for a while, because that main event scene is so jam-packed right now, especially with the return of CM Punk and the return of Randy Orton. So why not let LA Knight shine in a division where he would easily be the brightest star? CM Punk versus Logan Paul would be an amazing feud for the US Championship. It would also elevate that title so much, having two megastars fight for it. Look, I'm all down for CM Punk versus Logan Paul at some point or another. I think that would be a fantastic, incredibly fun feud. I don't think that this needs a title. I just don't see why we would need this title involved in this feud. I think that we can just have a feud about CM Punk hating everything that Logan Paul represents, and that's a good enough feud right there. CM Punk is a bitter old man that hates the fact that Logan Paul used his fame and popularity to catapult himself to the very top of the roster, something that he hated about The Rock when he just came back from Hollywood to steal the main event scene from him, something that he hated about The Miz. So we can just play to that. I don't think it needs a title, but I do agree that it would be highly entertaining. Bray Wyatt will be inducted into the 2024 Hall of Fame, but he won't be a headliner. I would love for him to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, but in terms of accolades, in terms of what he's accomplished, I don't think that he deserves to be a headliner. I think that there's other headliners that you can have, like Batista, like Paul Heyman, and others that just deserve that spot significantly more than Bray Wyatt. But I do think that as a character worker and his creativity, he absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But when I look at other people that have headlined their class, I just don't see Bray Wyatt having the accolades to be able to be the headliner for his class. When John Cena returns, he should join the Judgment Day and cosplay as Goth John Cena and become heel. Cinema. The fuck are you talking about? If Dolph Ziggler was booked right, he could have been a top 10 wrestler wrestler of all time. And if I had a time machine and I could travel back to the 1980s and put all of my life savings in Apple, I'd be a billionaire. But that's just not how life works. You basically want an entirely different history for Dolph Ziggler, which is just the epitome of wishful thinking. Is he great? Yes, but what happened has happened, man. Let's just move on. WWE should sign Okada to whatever he wants and have him beat Gunther at WrestleMania as a surprise opponent. I mean, just imagine that pop and reaction. I gotta be honest with you, I don't think that there would be much of a pop or a reaction. WrestleMania has a tremendous amount of casual fans, and those casual fans, I just don't think are gonna know who Okada is, even though he's a legend in the business and he is the bright jewel of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't think that he's gonna get this monumental pop that you're expecting. I think that a lot of us that are in the hardcore conversation as wrestling fans on Twitter, YouTube, whatever it might be, I think that we see people like the Will Ospreays of the world, like Okada, as bigger names than they actually are. But I just don't think that when you put them in front of the average wrestling fan, I guess I should say the average WWE fan, I don't think they're gonna know who the hell they are. Cody Rhodes is a different beast altogether because he was part of the WWE roster before, but when I think of Okada and somebody like Will Ospreay, I just don't think that they generate as much buzz as people think to the casual WWE fan. For me, shit yeah, I would pop like absolute bananas, but I just don't think that I'm the average wrestling fan. I had a great take, but I honestly forgot. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you like daily wrestling content. Well, I mean, he said it, so you have to. WWE should have gone all in for Will Ospreay. With how they're pushing the UK market with our own PLE and other big name PLEs coming to the UK, even talk of a WrestleMania there, a UK star like Will could have been a massive asset for them. Well, I do think that WWE went reasonably all out for Will Ospreay from what we hear, but it just sounds like Tony Khan just refused to lose his favorite new toy in Will Ospreay and just paid him a stupid amount of money. Like, at the end of the day, it's a business. Like, these people are going to go where they're paid the most, traditionally at least, and I guess Tony Khan just had the bigger pockets this time for Will Ospreay. But ultimately, I agree. I would have loved for WWE to really gun for Will Ospreay and bring him to the WWE, because I would love to see him in the WWE. Just imagine the feuds that he could have with some of the top players in the WWE, or if WWE doesn't trust that he can be a main roster player right away, imagine what he could do in just like 6 months in NXT. He could absolutely torch it down there. He would have been a great addition to the WWE, and he's still very, very young, only being 30 years old. He could have been such a great long-term asset for the WWE, but I think he's also a great long-term asset for AEW. Let's see what they do with him. Randy Orton truly deserves to break the World Championship record in the next couple of years. I think he's about to go on his best run in his long career. Look, as the John Cena guy, I'm starting to agree, man. I think that we should be giving Randy Orton that accolade with how long he's been in the company, how loyal he's been, the fact that he just continues to come back time after time whenever he has any sort of major injury. To me, he's the ultimate company man. He's also just such a good professional wrestler, and everyone loves him. I mean, look, Cena, I would have loved it for it to be you, but I don't see you here, and Randy is, so let's do it. Give it to Randy. HBK should be considered one of the greatest of all time of WWE. He had by far some of the best WrestleMania matches. He was and is still Mr. WrestleMania. Anything else friggin' obvious that you'd like to share with us? I think we all consider him to be one of the greatest of all time, dude. I don't think that you needed to submit this one into the hot takes. I'll just say that. All right, that's it. I'm done. That's the hot takes for this week. Again, if you want to be part of next week's hot takes, make sure you follow me on X. That's it. I'm done. Get out of here.